Hi, it's Angela from Esteem Lingerie and welcome back to the Sewing Lab. So, are you somewhere in the in-between? You know what it's like. 36 is too loose, 34 is too tight. Well, join me because I'm in the in-between as well. We all know bra stretch. It's a guarantee in life like death and taxes. And when we buy a bra, we ideally want it to fit snugly on that first set of hooks. So then as the bra stretches, we can move it in as we need to. But if you're like me and I'm running burning hot all the time and now adding a little extra hunka burning love with hormones, it can be frustrating because if I start out in a 36, I'm onto the tightest set of hooks in under a week. So I'm dabbling with some 34s, but they're a little bit too snug to get me through a day. And if I'm not going to wear the bra to stretch it, it's never going to stretch. Now with this particular one, I did try my tested trick of, while it was wet, putting it around a hardback chair to try to stretch it that 1/4 of an inch. But let's face it, that didn't work so well on this particular bra. So we're going to get an extension added to that, and we're going to go to the sewing lab to do it. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, just why don't you get one of those little extender things? Oh, you know, these pre-sized things that don't always work. For example, look at this one. Doesn't line up with the hooks and eyes. Oh, this one lines up a little better, but it's still off. Not to mention you end up with that ridge of double hooks right along your spine, which, let's be honest, is fabulously uncomfortable. So today we're going to show you how to add an extender to a bra, and it'll be comfortable. You'll have that little extra 1/4 of an inch you need until the bra stretches to get you out of the in-between.
Okay, so the first little minor alteration we're going to do is what Angela said, is a back extension. As she said, you could use the extension pieces that you can buy already made. However, sometimes they end up on a spot in your back that's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's hard to get a match on your hook and eyes. Some bras have a very narrow between the eyes. Some are wider. And so what I find works best is by sewing another back extension piece on. So where do you get these back extension pieces? Well, we have a recycle program for bras for the women's shelters, and bras get turned in that are truly at end of life. So we cut all these parts off, and that's what we use. If you don't have that, you might find something that you can buy either by the yard or by the piece at your local fabric store, or go to the thrift shop and pick up some of the bras that get turned in there. Match up a few there. I mean, for a few cents, you could probably buy a couple of bras and use a lot of those parts on what you need for your own bra. So in this case, this particular bra has these 2 hooks. What I've done is I've matched up so that my hook pattern is the same. I'm using alternate colors and different colored threads just for ease of you being able to see what's going on. Normally I do try and match up the color of the bra. This is 3. What I do not suggest is you sew all 3 onto the end of your bra. If you need that much room in your bra to be comfortable, you're in the wrong size band entirely. This is only a case where the band is just a smidgen too tight, yet when you go to the next band up, it becomes too loose. So don't sew all 3 on. What I do is sew 2 on. So I'm going to take a cut, just kind of push these hooks back. So now I only have 2 rows. Then what I do is I kind of split it a bit. You reach in, you can usually just split them apart at the end, like this. Then what I do is I sandwich it between these 2. So as much room as you can. Or you can actually you can either put it right under like that, or you can sandwich, whatever way works for you. I then will use a straight stitch. My stitch length is fairly close. It's only a 2. I don't want it too wide. I'm not basting it or anything. Once I do one line across with my straight stitch. I will then go back and either zigzag it and secure it a bit more. One of the ways that the reason I do it this way is then at a later point, if the bra stretches so much that we want to take it right off, it's easier to take off. So in this case, and by the way, I know I have a bit of a Lamborghini sewing machine here because I like to sew, so my little treat to me. However, this can be done with any sewing machine that has a straight stitch and prefer a zigzag. And the other stitch that I use for alteration is what's called a serpentine or a triple stitch. So in this case, let me just adjust my machine here and go forward and back. I always leave myself a bit of tails when I do this. Although this machine has an auto cutter, I find sometimes the tails are handy when you need to pull it a little bit and just kind of coax it. So now I'm going to do a zigzag, and I have a fairly narrow 3.5. My stitch length is back down to 1.5, and I'm just going to stitch across it. Take your time in doing this, because what you want to be mindful of is that you don't have your zigzag stitch too wide, because there's a little bit of metal in there in these hooks and eyes. And so if you have it too wide, you do risk hitting a piece of metal and breaking your needle. The needle I use is a universal 10 or 12 when I do this work. I prefer the Schmidt brand. I find that works best with this type of fabric. Some of the other brands that I've tried just tend to not sew as nice and cause issues, but Schmidt tends to be a very decent brand. So as you can see, I have it all stitched on. It's nice and flat either way, and it's flat here. Now, one of the other little things that can sometimes happen is you get a little bit of a bulk there or whatever, or ladies have just sensitive backs. Maybe they've got a little area that's quite sensitive. So sometimes what I've also done for ladies like this is I have taken, and this is a great thing, go to the thrift store, pick up some old padded bras, that's a padded bra cup, and I will cut a strip of the padding. And then what I do is just very close to the edge here, stitch it all the way around and totally pad out that back piece. Super, super comfortable. I do that with a lot of my own bras because I need that. I need that little extra padding there. Little spot on my back that my bra strap bothers me. But this is fairly smooth, and at a later point, if I want to take it off, then it's fairly easy to get off. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you my niftiest trick. For those of you who need a sharp stitch ripper and you buy them and within a short time they're dull, and you buy them and they're dull and it's just a waste of money, this is the neatest trick I got from Threads magazine. This is a scalpel, a surgical scalpel. Go to your medical store. You can find the handle for about under $3. And then the blades, I get these blades for about 40 cents a piece. I buy them by the box. And so that's the handle, and I do use a number 12 blade, and it's like this, so I always keep a pair of needle nose, and I take and I put it on like this, take my needle nose, slide it in the spot, there it is, and now I have a super sharp stitch ripper that'll take anything apart. And a lot of times I find when I'm talking to ladies, they struggle with their stitch ripper, and then it's one slip and next thing they damage their product. If you've got a super sharp stitch ripper, you're going to find you have a lot more control over your work. So I highly recommend this, and keep your stitch ripper sharp, and you'll find this is a fairly easy job to do.
So, Mom, I'm going to take that bra quickly from you.
Okay.
I'm going to go switch bras so that you can take in this blue one I'm wearing.
Okay. I will get my machine ready. Her extension on her bra, giving her that little bit of breathing room in there. As you can see, it sits nice and flat, and it's just that last little ½ inch, 3/4 inch she needs, and it won't be long, and it'll stretch out and be wherever she wants it. Nice and flat, it's secure, and she doesn't have to worry about that coming off. She launders it, she doesn't have to worry about losing it, sitting down and coming unhooked. Works really, really well and very inexpensive. So that's how you put a bra extension on.
Great. Now I'm going to give Mom my beautiful blue bra so she can do the back taken on it. And of course, if you're doing this for somebody else, please make sure the bra is laundered, because if skin and body oils are built up in the bra, it actually makes it a lot harder for your seamstress to work on the bra. So make sure it's freshly laundered. This one was freshly laundered as of this morning, and I've only worn it for about an hour, so it should be fine for my mom to work on. If not, Mom usually, So, just FYI. There you go, Mom.
Okay, thanks, Angela. Angela's right on that, because sometimes I'm trying to do repairs on a bra whereby the bra hasn't been properly laundered. Again, laundry bag in the machine. Best way to take care of your bra. Trying to do it by hand, it does not come clean enough and you don't get enough of it out. If you wear a lot of antiperspirant, it will get into the elastic, and if I can't get it up, the needle will actually bounce on it. It won't penetrate through. So you definitely want to make sure that you've done that with your bra if you're going to get it repaired or altered. So in this case, what I need to do, as I said, is take it in 1/4 inch on either side for Angela, and that would then just make it a little bit tighter so that she's able to go back to starting it at the very first set of eyes. So the secret to it, I have seen many women try and make a bra band smaller, and what they've done is they'll stitch a pleat through the back wing. If I can get this up like this, just stitching it down like that, and trying to make the bra band smaller. Well, it does work. End result, yes, it does work, but you now have a bra that looks like you altered it, and it could be uncomfortable because this could be bulky. When you fold elastic over, you now have got 3 layers or 4 layers of elastic pushing against your body. It could leave a ridge in your clothes. What I'm about to show you, it will look like this. So what I need to do is I need to unstitch and take the hook and eye piece off, and in some cases I may even have to remove this strap, and I will show you why in a moment. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take my stitch ripper, and I've just got the tip of it, and I've gone in and I'm just cutting apart the zigzag that holds the eyepiece on. I'm going to do it very slowly. The stitch ripper is very sharp, but as you can see, it gets in there, and because of that nice sharp tip, I can get right at it, right nice and close. You don't want to cut it. Just undo the stitches. And so just kind of move and ease your way along. So I have that all loose. When I take and pull that off she comes. I'm going to clean it up, taking all the little bits of thread off it. The manufacturers often will use woolly nylon in their bobbin thread. That's not necessary per se for just yourself to go out and buy a big spool of woolly nylon, but I would suggest a polyester thread, because the polyester thread has a little bit of give to it. You can also use a lingerie thread, which is usually 2-ply instead of 3-ply. So in this case, now, sometimes what happens, I'll take that other piece apart. In this case, Angela still left the tag on, which makes it quite easy because now I can pull that between and pull between. So again, I've taken it off. I'm going to clean up all the threads on it. Now, my next little suggestion when you're doing this is a little helpful hint. Once you've got the two pieces off, lock them together. Hook the hook onto the eyes and set it aside. There's been many a time where I've spent looking for one piece or the other because they've got separated or I've got stopped in the middle of my project, and when I come back, it magically disappears. So when you're wanting to do a back take-in, in an Angela's case, it is only 1/4 inch. I wouldn't, if you have to take in more than 3/4 inch per side, you're starting to change some of the way the bra may fit. So anything over 3/4, it's not ideal. Anything under 3/4, this works quite well. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be moving and putting this further on in here. And you can't, I hope you can see this, but if I just sew it on, I now have about 1/4 inch, sometimes even as much as 1/2 inch of strap overhang here that's not going to fit. My side piece is wider than my hook and eye. What am I going to do? That is when you need to take this piece off your bra. If I am taking a bra back in, say, substantially, sometimes I will remove the whole piece, which means undoing it here, taking the strap right off, and setting it right back. When I do that, what I normally will do is I'll unstitch this, pull it off, and then I lay this bra back piece on a piece of paper and I draw the pattern, because then I can just set it back and retrace it and have the same width. In this particular case, what I'm going to do, since it's such a little amount that I need, I'm going to undo it, but I'm not going to undo the top here. I'm just going to take it up to there and then shift it down. What essentially that does is it brings the bra back strap closer to the center back when you do that. So ladies who have narrow sloping shoulders, that works quite well. So in this case, I can see where they've used a cover stitch machine, and I'm just going to go in and turn it this way so you can see a little more. And hold her straight and slowly release the stitches. There. All the stitching came out. Remove all the little bits of thread. Now this was a cover stitch that they used to put this back on, and not a lot of us have those machines at home, a separate machine to do that. And you don't necessarily need to have a separate machine to do that. There is a stitch called the serpentine stitch or the triple zigzag, and it's basically a zigzag stitch, but instead of one stitch back and forth like this, it's 3. I'm sure most machines have it, and it's my favorite go-to stitch. And the reason I use that is it has built-in stretch. When you sew your strap piece back on, and then you need this bra to stretch with wearing, it will stretch without popping stitches. So in this case, now I need to line up to figure out, I'm going to cut my little piece off there, based on my 1/4 inch. I'm going to take off my little bit there. Not much, but it makes a difference for sure. Now I need to line this up and make sure that I've got, I'm going to move it in about 1/4 inch. And now I can just move that up a little bit There, I've got it nicely lined up. I'll cut that little piece off later. So my stitch width on this, I'm going to do at about a 7. And my stitch length, I'm going to take it to 2. Secure the end so it doesn't come out. And what I normally do is just give it a little bit of stretch while I'm sewing it. So there is my back elastic sewn back on, and it's going to match quite nicely when I go to put that back on. So if you can see here, it's moved. I've had to move that up just a little bit. Cut that off. Now I'm going to change, and you can do 2 things. I'm going to do a secure stitch, straight stitch, just to hold it in spot for me so it doesn't slip out later. Open up my bra back a little bit more than what they had, just so I can flip that top layer back nicely. I'm going to put that line up. So how do you remember what side to put the hooks and what side to put the eyes? Quite easy. Left side has 4 letters, eye has 4 letters. That's the way I remember. I'm just going to do a straight stitch, and you kind of massage it in to fit. Okay, and so as you can see, I've got it nicely done there. Now I'm going to go over top of that stitching with a zigzag, just to finish it off and it looks nice. Some ladies I have seen bras with just a straight stitch on it. I just like to have a little more secure, because there is quite a bit of stress on that point. So I'm just going to come back down, and I'm going just to do a satin stitch zigzag at a 3.5, and I'm going to do about a 1.5 stitch length. Secure it at the start, all the way across. Secure it at finish. As you can see, I still have my eyes put on the other side, but that is the back reattached and looking very much like it originally was. I'll now do the other side. Again, removing the elastic piece. Now there are some backs that you can't do a bra back in, take in. There are certain bras that the back of it is designed so that the back wing piece here comes up into a high piece like this, and then the strap attaches further on up here. You cannot do a back take in on that. There's not enough room from here to here to allow you to take it in. It's usually quite close. So this works for a lot of bras, but not for every bra. So I'm going to get this out of my way. Release the stitches. Take care of the poly nylon thread pieces that are there. Now if you, I've done a lot of these, so I usually don't have to worry about trying to remember how much I've taken out. But if you had a concern about being exact on both, you could take your little piece that you cut off and line it up and cut the same, make sure you cut the same amount. You do have to do both sides. If you don't do both sides, then your back is not going to sit symmetrical on your back. Your bra will be pulled over to one side. So you do need to take both sides off. I'm going to go back to my serpentine stitch. Take this pin out of my way. Drop my needle down to secure, and in this case I'm going to line up the bottom of my bra and make sure that pull the elastic piece down so that when I go to sew this back on, it'll all be nicely tucked within the eye part of the hook and eye piece. I'm going to stretch it a little bit as I'm sewing it. There's that triple stitch sewn quite nicely. Show you. So as you can see, that's how much I've taken in. Look at the back here, where this is now up a little bit higher. I'm going to true up my edge piece. A bit of my threads. Now this is the part that can be a little bit tricky. When I sew my eye piece back onto this, the easier way to do, or the way we tend to want to do it, is putting the eyes down and stitching it. The challenge is the hook here will get caught in this part of the machine and it'll get stuck. So you have to do it a bit backwards. So in this case what I do is, again, I fit it all in nice in that nice little area. I do a straight stitch, but I move my needle as far over to the right as I can. You could also use a zipper foot that would allow you to get a little bit closer, but I'm going to be satisfied just leaving it like that. In my case, I didn't catch the end there, so I'm going to just unstitch that a little bit and push that back in and re-stitch that end piece so it's nice and secure. Now what I'm going to do is a satin stitch zigzag at about 3.5 and 1.5 width. I'm going to go back over that, getting as close as I can to my hook with the side of my foot. So this is usually the harder side to get as neat and tidy, but you could maybe reduce your stitch width or stitch length to 1 instead of 1.5 and get your stitches a little closer together. But because I've stitched underneath with a straight, this should be pretty secure and hold quite well. So that's how you take a back in so that it looks pretty much the same. And now when Angela puts her bra on, she's going to be able to start here again, and it'll be nice and tight.
And make sure you do that test that Mom just did to make sure you have lined up your hook and eye, because if you've been having a bad day, that's when you're going to find out.
Yeah, exactly. I put them on backwards. I put them on the wrong side. I've done all sorts of things.
It can happen. So
it can happen.
There's your final test before anybody else sees what's going on. But thanks for taking in my bra back, Mom. It looks fabulous. And stay tuned for more videos on how to fix your bras.
Thank you.
For years, it has been our passion and our mission to help women be better consumers when it comes to buying bras. If you've loved this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to our channel, but let other women know that there's resources for them to help them find that better fit. Remember, at Esteem Lingerie, we do more than lift your spirits.